on that note, in terms of the Emacs text editor, the first course that I put together was this course about building the Emacs text editor from source and installing it on your computer system. And the next series of videos is really about what you get once you install the Emacs text editor on your system. And upcoming, we're getting to sort of the exciting part where we start to actually build out a working Emacs configuration. And just to give you some context, I did download about 50 different .emacs.d directories I found some resources. These are people that have been building Emacs libraries. So there's a lot of libraries in Emacs, and people build these things. Actual real people at different places write this code, and a lot of them have initialization files. They've got their own .emacs.d, and a lot of them make those public and available. And so I had the opportunity to download them. I've explored possibly somewhere around 20. I downloaded about 50 and had a look in most of them just to get some idea about who's using this literate programming methodology that I use for creating the Emacs initialization file. A lot of people are actually using these. It's relatively new. It comes from a time when there's a mode called org mode, a package called org mode, which allows exporting from documentation, which is a cornerstone of literate programming. And I don't know how long that's been around, but that's sort of changed the way that we create our configuration files. And I just wanted to touch base again back to the connection. Literate programming as a way of organizing documentation and code and sort of knitting it together. And I wanted to talk about where I originally encountered this idea first, this idea of literate programming, not just sort of because it's cool, but also just to kind of give you some context about where I'm coming from in terms of the literate programming. So I did some of the studies that I did, which began many years ago in sciences. I also took economics, and after I finished economics, I was very interested in data science. I took a course from Johns Hopkins when the MOOCs first got started from Coursera called the Data Science Specialists. This is Brian Caffo, Jeffrey Leake, and Roger Payne. And they do R programming course, and they look at R in the context of statistics. If you know what stochastic is, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's the usual mean, median, mode, median, mean, and shifting distributions, and you get into nearest neighbors and all that kind of stuff, and basically linear programming for problem solvings, and nonlinear programming, and systems and all that kind of stuff that you may remember from textbooks in the past when it used to be called decision science before people started calling it data science. And so it's a lot of those techniques are introduced in that course, but they merged that with technology. So they were really talking about R programming. So they're using apps like Shiny apps. Some of those apps may still be relevant. They're still offering that course, I noticed. Of course, they use R Markdown and knit-R for doing what they called statistical literate programming, which is really a big deal in the research world, because especially the academic research world, but also probably in pharmaceuticals and hedge funds. It's like you do your research, you get your data, and then somebody else can pick up that document. They can see that you've got the data in it. They can see the process. They can see the documentation, the notes, everything. It's all in one file. So a lot of things are done. A lot of people are doing things these days. It's a big deal in teaching as well. And I've noticed a lot of the teachers on front-end masters, they use the same system. They've got reproducible research. They've got documents that have the code inside of the documents in fenced off in code blocks. And they call those code blocks in org mode. Those are SRC code blocks. And I use that a lot. In all of my code is written in these, I call them code generators. I've got them everywhere, code generators for everything. All my JavaScript code, all my modules, all my Hugo code, any database code, basically anywhere that I've got code, it is in a literate programming file, because you can really clearly understand what it is you're doing when you have a system for looking up the notes and the code in one spot. You can read the function. You can also experiment with changing functions. In the context of that document, you don't have to use Git as much in terms of creating, new branches and rolling back and doing all kinds of things. You can just uncomment your block and create a new block. And I'll have the opportunity to show you some of these things. But where the rubber hits the road in Emacs is we get into this literate programming where we put together our initialization file, and there's a couple of key steps that we do before that to sort of set everything up, and that's what we're going to be talking about. It's the first video of my series. I've done a couple of videos. Those are not a part of the actual video series. Those are just warm-ups, getting Emacs installed in your computer system, understanding where Emacs lives, and how to start Emacs. That's all just getting you set up. But the next part is where we start actually building out an Emacs literate configuration. And how is this helpful for you? Well, again, if you are somebody that's in the building out the intellectual property, in research, in institutional knowledge side of things, if you're interested, you'll know right away if you watch my videos if you are interested or if you're not interested. So if you're interested, stick around. If you are not interested, don't waste your time. And somebody else has got something that is interesting for you to watch. My role, I'm seeking alignment here. As I mentioned, influencers, they want everybody to watch their video, but I am, of course, making these videos for alignment potential. And so that's something to keep in mind as well. I just wanted to put this all in the context of these international political events because they're more important than what I'm talking about. They can have large sweeping consequences that can sort of drag us all along with them. You can get swept out to sea very quickly in these international types of big plays. And so just wanted to comment on that as well and have some gratitude for the fact that we do live in a part of the world that has a reasonably stable, a reasonable chance at having a stable society in terms of our ability even to offer our market, our products to market and our services to market. So thanks so much for watching, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video. And if I completely bored you, feel free to come back again. Maybe we'll talk some motivation or something. All right. Thanks so much. We're looking forward to seeing you guys next time.